I'm Christina.
I'm Maya
from Bookworm Dreams.
and welcome to a new video. So today we're going to talk about our April wrap-up. I already have an April wrap-up up because I read a bunch of different kinds of romances, so you can check them out. So to make this video a bit shorter, I filmed mine before. It's going to be up soon. It's supposed to be up already, so link it somewhere and watch. But yeah, today in the other books in April that I read 5 books. One was a romance book, 2 were sci-fi novels, 1 was a fantasy novel, and 1 was non-fiction. How many books have you read and what were they about?
Oh my gosh, I read, 2, 4, that's 6, that's 9.
9 books on
9
total,
over
okay.
Total, but like 2 or 3 were short stories.
Okay.
So, they were not that big. Anyways, I read, 2 fantasies, 4 urban fantasies, 1 romance novel, and 1 non-fiction. Which technically we read the same book. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, the first book I want to talk about is I read Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is book 3 in the Brown Sisters series. I love it. I did have a vlog for that one and a bunch of other books from this list. So basically we follow Eve. She's the 3rd Brown sister and she's very, I want to say zany, but she's kind of zany and she's kind of flaky and she finds things that she likes and then she kind of gives up on them when something, when an obstacle happens or, she loses interest very quickly. So her family decides to cut her off and kick her out so she can be on her own and try to find something that she can work at. And she goes and interviews to be a cook in a bed and breakfast in some village somewhere. And the interview goes fine, where we meet Jacob, who is very, how do we say this? He's very blunt. He's on the spectrum, so he's very blunt and very put together, very organized. Total opposite of Eve. And the interview goes as it goes, and when they go to find her to tell her that she got the job, Eve basically runs him over with her car, and then she has to take care of him and take care of his bed and breakfast. So because he can't do because she broke his arm and whatever. Yeah, basically this is a sort of opposites attract romance, like not antagonist, but mutual dislike at first sight.
Okay.
Two lovers and rivals to lovers sort of story, and I enjoyed it very much. I really enjoyed this whole series, and all the 3 books are very similar. They follow the same sort of plot points and same sort of overall themes. There's lots of representation, and I would recommend it to anybody to read it. I just really, though that one and the first one are my favorites, and I'm definitely going to buy the whole set because they're really cool.
But the books are actually really nice looking. They have
the covers are very cool.
The covers and the colors are brilliant. I love that they're colorful. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on with romance. So to get that out of the way, I read Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. This is the first book in the Wright Brothers series. So we have the story of Reese and Jason. So they're 26 and 28, so a bit older, so we're not in the young adult, but the new adult genre, I think.
So you say 20 and 28?
26 and 28.
That's not new adult, that's adult already. New adult is from 18 to 21.
Oh, okay, so we're in adult.
Yes.
Awesome. So basically, one issue that you might have with this book is the fact that Reese is a teaching assistant, and
is he hooking up with his student?
And that's her. And Jason is her student, her mom's student. And
are they in college?
Yeah.
If you're just 26, but still.
Yeah, I mean her mom is this big shot
professor.
Literary professor, and she is her teaching assistant, and she helps her grades, papers and stuff. And Jason is actually a war veteran. He lost his leg from the knee down, if I'm not mistaken. And he when he comes back home, he goes to school. He wants to educate himself. And he ends up by accident in their class, actually.
Okay.
But he is really good at it. And Reese falls for him. Like, she really, really likes his writing.
Okay.
And the, like, things he writes because it is very, you know, like, feminist and, like, you know.
Okay, my only question is, do they hook up while he's in the class or after he leaves the class?
Oh, no, he's in the class the entire time.
No.
That's why I'm saying some people would probably have a problem with it. I mean, I have a specific situation where my mom and dad were like professor teacher, and they're like 12 years difference, and like
they didn't hook up while they were in. Well, your mom was in school, right?
Technically, technically the. Like at the trip that you take at the end of like, you know, like
oh my god, yeah, okay.
So I guess I'm, you know, like not as outraged by it just because of that. Anyways, so their relationship starts a bit rocky, so there's kind of, you know, like mutual dislike actually to kind of falling in love again. Because like because Reese kind of appears very prissy and posh, and Jason is like this handyman. He works at a mechanics shop, mechanics shop with his dad, and you know, like he kind of bumps into her, and she has this white blouse, and she makes a face. So he thinks she's a bit, you know, like yeah. Anyways, and they're both very alpha personalities. Reese is very much an angry person. That is one thing I really noticed about her. And you don't actually get to know what's behind that anger until almost the very end of the book. But it is a trigger warning for loss of a parent. I have to say that because like it is very important for people to know that. And basically, I don't know how it felt. I think it was like a solid 3 stars for me. I wrote down that it was jarringly normal.
Okay.
Like, you know, okay, they had this brilliant banter where they would like really, they bounced off each other really great. But at the same time, they talked. You know, like communicated. Like truly communicated. There was no miscommunication. There was no, you know, like there was no, you know, the big third act, you know, like confrontation that's going on. And like, I don't know, it felt too normal almost, because they really like talked and understood each other, and they, you know, they didn't pity each other, and just it was so normal. Like, I guess I don't know what to say. And there was like a really cute like subplot, romantic subplot with their parents, which was really adorable. And yeah, but unfortunately I hoped I would like it better. I might try at least something else by her, because like the writing was good. I don't know, I just couldn't really get into the characters, so yeah.
Well, the next book I read is Persephone Station by Stina Light. This was one of my most anticipated books of 2021, and it was a disappointment because my favorite thing about this book is the cover. I do have a vlog when I read this. Basically, my main problem was that I didn't connect with any of the characters, and just I listened to it on audio. So basically in this book we follow Angel. She's like an ex-military person who now is a mercenary in Persephone Station. It's a planet. And she is sort of hired by Rosie. She sort of has a bar on this planet for people of her type, I guess. And she's basically hired to protect the indigenous people of the planet. Now the indigenous people of the planet are being attacked and persecuted because they have this sort of technology that our main bad guy wants to take.
I mean, that sounds like a really good plot.
It does sound like a good plot.
Really
and
good.
Basically it's an average sci-fi opera with just basically an all-female cast. And you know, the characters are very diverse and everything, but it just, I don't know if it's the audiobook narrator, but it was so dry, it was so info dumpy. It was just like you would meet a character and then you get like a whole spiel about their history and how they're connected to the story. It didn't really sort of flow naturally. You didn't really figure find out about this through conversation. It would be like, okay, here is one of the the crew of the ship is called Loop-de-Loop, I think, because she's a pilot and they do the loop-de-loops and whatever.
Oh.
And it's like, okay, this is Loop-de-Loop, and then her history, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, fine. But yeah, I wasn't really, vibing with it, and so.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's all I have to say about it. Cool cover though.
Okay, I'll be quick with the next two I'm gonna mention, and that is Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire. Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. These are the two books for what was it, March and April that we were supposed to read for the tag-along, and I finished them. But we will have a separate reviews for both of them. I would just like to say they do get better. The books do get better. And Heir of Fire is maybe, like, so far of the four that I read. Mm-hmm. Absolutely awesome. I loved it. That one was really good. So stay tuned for those reviews.
Okay, cool. Next I want to mention Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean McGuire. This is book 6 in the Wayward Children series. We follow Reagan. Yeah. I keep saying Regan because while I was reading this, there was a whole Negan episode on The Walking Dead, so I was like Negan, Regan all the time, but Reagan. Basically, she's an intersex girl, and when she finds out, she sort of mentions this to her friend, who is horrible, and she basically goes around telling people that Reagan is a boy who is pretending to be a girl and whatnot, and then Reagan sort of runs away and finds herself in Hoofland, where she shacks up with a bunch of centaurs and basically develops her character, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a whole sort of Wizard of Oz thing that's happening there. If you know what that is, then I'm basically spoiling the plot here. But yeah, this one was kind of meh.
I didn't get that.
No,
like that's totally Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed the Jack and Jill stories the most in this series, and I enjoyed the mermaid one, the third one, I think, Beneath the Sugar Sky.
Yeah.
I loved that one, those ones. But this one was kind of like, technically nothing really happened. She went there. I mean, not that. I mean, stuff happens in the other books, but in this one, she basically went to Hoofland, developed her character, became not a full-grown person because she gets to go back, as in every book. But she sort of develops her character and finds a way to accept herself and everything. And I was more interested in what would happen when she came back, and then the book ended. Like basically, she comes back and the book ends. And I'm like, no, I want to know, like, does she go beat up Laurel? Does she So yeah, it was kind of. Yeah, but I will continue because I enjoyed the series very much. So I'm not like.
I'm not.
You're not going to continue with Wayward Children?
No, I think I don't think that generally Sean McGuire
is for you.
Yeah, I don't know, except for the Jack and Jill one, and the Beneath the Sugar Sky. Mm-hmm. I literally like none of the books that I have read by them are like more than 3 stars.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, I don't know why. They always fall short somehow.
No, fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What should I do? Okay, so let's deal with the urban fantasies.
Ooh.
So, I read a bunch because I was apparently in a very fantasy mood. Urban fantasy mood. And so, first off, I read Magic Shifts by Ilona Andrus. This is the 8th book in the Kate Daniels series. I also read Magic Binds, which is the 9th book in the Kate Daniels series. And now I'm going to put this down. So basically, I mean, 8th and 9th book. What do you say to that? I mean, in the 8th book, you get to see a bit more of the dynamic within a single pack. Here, specifically in the bear pack, and how their kind of power relations work, and you get to kind of see more of Mahon and oh my god, his daughter George, and the man she's in love with, Eduardo, who is like a were bison. So like the werebear doesn't really.
I forgot that part.
Yeah, so the werebear doesn't really want.
He doesn't want anyone. So
but he basically he does not approve of anyone. But basically that's the plot line. So that like it was cool to see like actually the inner workings of a like a clan within the pack because you don't get to see that very much. And just seeing like from the 5th book on, when kind of Kate starts developing her magic and kind of exploring it more and seeing what she can do and how like just I think the best thing for me in this book was like that Ilona Andrews showed how much Kate actually fears the magic that she has. So she is aware that she's very powerful and that like she could do stuff, but her struggle between like defying that magic, because it does take like a strong hold on her, and being who she is actually and her morals and not wanting, you know, like to command people is so brilliant. Like I love that actually throughout, like in the 8th book, in the 9th book. I'm already reading the 10th book, that there's also like this is like a continuing topic where she is constantly dealing with not having to kind of hurt people by using her magic, even when she uses it for good. And I absolutely love that. And then in Magic Binds, let me just say, oh my gosh, yeah, Magic Binds a lot of. Anyways, the wedding is being planned, and I absolutely love that they
completely yeah, okay.
Yeah, the wedding is planned between Kate and Curran, and like I love that they put in this like kind of humorous moments and kind of a bit of comic relief where Kate is just like, please, I don't want to do this wedding, just like you know, like bake something and let's just do it. And she has this like wedding planner who keeps like barking at her like, no, let's get a dress, try these cakes, try this, like, and there's like a lot of hilarious moments in there, despite being still very serious. Dark and serious, because her father is still trying to kind of kill her and like take over. And I think this is the 2nd book where they have actually left the pack, so it's also very interesting to see still the dynamics between Curran and her and the pack, and how they still, you know, what are the relationships
when she takes
are there
over, when they take over the
mercenary
guild,
the mercenary guild, when they take over. Yeah, so yeah, that was like I just love how Kate's and Curran's relationship develops. I love how Kate as a character is just, I am absolutely like enthralled by the books at this point. So I also read A Questionable Client, which is like the first novella, like the 0.51, which is the first case that Kate does for Simon when she first meets him, and it was hilarious and crazy, and like it was just literally like an entire novel packed into like 50 pages. It just, Lona Andrews managed to do so much with it, and I loved it. So that was awesome. And then the other one that I absolutely loved, it was Magic Dreams, and I forget which one it is. I think it's maybe like 4.5 or something like that. But this is the story of Dolly and Jim. And Dolly is this white tiger. So she's like a magical creature that is very rare, and she gets to kind of solve a case together with Jim. And I love the fact that somebody else was solving a case besides Kate, and somebody else was using magic. And Dolly is such a brilliant character. So she is very bright, she's very intelligent,
she's also very blind.
And very blind, like she has gigantic like glasses. And but at the same time, she's very self-conscious, like because everybody else made her self-conscious throughout her life. She has been told, you are not pretty enough, you are not good enough.
Isn't she also vegetarian?
Yes, that is also very
and she's like a tiger,
and she's a tiger and a vegetarian. Yes. And like she's very self-conscious about her looks, but she really likes Jim, and he's an alpha at this point, and she doesn't even think he would ever consider her. And we get to see how I think he's actually already in love with her in the book, but just to see that courtship, like those last moments before they actually get together finally, was just, I don't know, I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I love it. Yeah.
All right. So the next book I read is The Last Emperox by John Scalzi. This is book 3 and the final book in the interdependency trilogy. Basically, this series follows the interdependency. This is like a group of planets. So basically, humans have moved from Earth to another planet, and from there they colonized other parts of the universe using something called the flux, which is like a space highway, basically.
Okay.
And in the first book we find out that the flux is basically shutting down, and all those places that are colonized will be cut off from the hub. Or basically they're like a source of stuff they need for living. I totally forgot the word. Resources, thank you. Source of resources. And throughout the series we basically follow the last emperor, the emperor of the whole thing. Because the whole system so they moved from Earth to this planet, and to sort of keep them together and under rule, the first emperor created this religion.
Okay.
And basically the emperor is also the god.
Okay.
And like the leader of the church or whatever. So from then on, and then you have like 7 guild guild families, merchant families, the sort of the aristocracy of the society, and then you have the regular people. So basically, in the first one, we get to know the new emperor. There's not empress or emperor; everybody's emperor with a UX at the end. How she decides to, govern after she finds out that basically everyone will die out mostly. Then we follow the scientist whose father discovers that the flux is basically shutting down, and we follow and he's trying to help the emperor fix that. And then we follow the coolest character ever called Lady Kiva. She is first of all, she's foul-mouthed, which I always love when people swear in books. She's so capable, and she's very chaotic. She's the agent of chaos in this story, but she has an underlying morality which is above everyone's. And she's like, I want to help the little people, but I'm going to make everybody else pay dearly. And it's going to be it's just amazing. She's the best female character that I've read recently. And I just fell in love completely. So I listened to most of these books on audio. And they're narrated by Will Wheaton. And he does such a fantastic...
You love him.
He does most of, I think, John Scalzi's work. Mm-hmm. And he does such a fantastic job. And I fucking love him. And I just love the whole series. And it's the third book. I can't really tell you what happens. Basically, all the plots that have developed from the first 2 books are just basically coming together and resolving. And it's amazing. It's awesome. I cried. It was amazing. The end. It's just... Yay, John Scalzi rules. Basically.
You cried?
Yes, because something happened. And then God. I can't tell you, but it's awesome. So yeah.
Okay, do you have one more book, right?
Yes, I have one more.
Okay, so the last book we both read, and that is So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijoma Olua. Mm-hmm. So basically, this is what do you say? Like an essay-like book, mm-hmm. Where where the author basically responds to questions that have been posed to her about her race.
Yes, and basically the book every chapter is about a certain aspect of race. So there's talk about microaggressions, there's talk about school to prison systems, pipeline system. There's talk about how to talk about race. You get pointers. Intersectionality, like the
a lot of things.
Myth of minorities, I think is one of them also. So
there's I'm sorry, I think it was excellent because a lot of...
Yeah, the book is amazing.
A lot of, amazing for somebody who's maybe just starting to talk about race, literally, mm-hmm. because it explains so many, buzzwords that you hear mm-hmm. when talking about race, and that you might not understand either at all enough, or just, in detail, because mm-hmm. there's, so many variables in there and so many aspects to kind of understand. Yeah. And I think it puts a great perspective on it. Mm-hmm. And for I just started reading about it, so I felt like it was a great introduction into everything.
Yeah, it was very educational. It was very interesting. Basically, each chapter sort of starts with a personal story that the author shares, and then from that goes into like the definitions of whatever she was talking about, and the learning part for us. And this is definitely interesting for us because we live in a mostly white country. Basically, there's no black people here. So to learn about these things, I mean, you can watch the news and everything, but this is definitely a great starting point to sort of educate yourself on the problem. And yeah, definitely recommend to people.
Yes, I think it's also brilliant that she included examples. Like it wasn't like just you see this is this and and it wasn't info dump. It was more like really explaining. Here's a definition and here's how this looks like when you encounter it in real life.
And what you should do.
And what you should do. And I think that's like really good, but because you can at least somehow relate to it and like put it in your mind rather than think, oh, is this it? So I literally felt like after I finished it, I literally felt like, okay, this is a book I will need to read again, just to remind myself on some things, and just I really loved it.
Yeah,
it was really
great
good.
Book. So those were the books that we read in April. If you read any of the books we have, please do let us know down below in the comments. There are important links to stuff in our description box, so please do check them out. What else?
Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Thank you so much for watching,
and we will see you in our next video.
Bye.